morning. How are you guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Before we get started, I have here some green juice, guys. I told you I was sick and I was going to start detoxing, so here you go. This is kale, celery, spinach, apple, ginger. Just drink it. Just clean out. Just give your body a rest. Just do what you got to do. If you want to know how to do it, just go to my playlist, go to juices, and it'll be there. What is new? So listen, guys, I came back because I had did this stream about Bentley when it had first came out. It was Memorial Day weekend. And I guess I didn't follow the community guidelines. And I went in prison. They took it down. So I said, okay, I'm going to come back. So I'm going to come back, but I'm going to keep it very PG friendly and just try to, you guys fill in the blanks. And I'm just learning how not to get in prison because now I got out of YouTube jail, but I got put in TikTok jail. I got to figure it out. Anyway, so let's get into it. You guys remember Fonzworth Bentley, Mr. Umbrella Man. And I know you guys probably already are up on the story because I had already reported it and they took it down. Let's go through it again. Let's see if we can connect the dots like we usually do, right? Or fill in the blanks. Okay, let me show my screen. Guys, thank you for everyone watching, sharing, subscribing. Hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Here he goes, Bentley Fonzworth. You guys remember? Well, nice looking guy. He has a nice southern twang accent. I think he's from the South. I'm not sure if it's Georgia or where. And Diddy said, Puffy was, got charged with the bang bang charge with J Lo, and he was known as Puffy, and then he wanted to change his image, so he went to P Diddy, then eventually Diddy. So he saw Bentley one day dressed like that. He was like, "Oh, I like your look," and he liked that. Rich people always had a butler in the house. So I guess he figured I'm gonna have an image and have the butler, out in the street, and I guess it worked. And it just took off. And then he became his assistant, the making of the band, yada yada yada. So let's look at this old interview he did.
I guess when I moved to New York, obviously I stood out dressing like this, in a lot of the hip hop clubs and things. And, literally one day he came up to me. He was like, I really want you to work on my fall wardrobe. So I exchanged information with him, a very important two-way number. And now knowing how his schedule is, it was very difficult to get with him actually. So during his trial, I sent him a lot of, spiritual verses just to kind of support him. And then one day, I left the restaurant. I was working as a maitre d' for Madison Park, a fantastic restaurant in New York City. And I said, "You remember the guy from New York City that traveled to, you remember the guy from Howard that traveled to New York City to intern with Andre Harrell? I'm that guy in 2001. Please, I need a job." And he said, "Come to 1396 3rd Avenue on this two-way." And I literally raced to that address, and I started as an assistant that day. And the rest is history. I guess when I moved to New York, obviously I stood out dressing like.
Okay, so that was pretty much just he was walking down the street, ran into Diddy. Diddy liked what he had on. He was like, he hit him on the two-way, and he said, come and work for him. I know in the past he said a few times he had depression because after the shooting in Manhattan he went through, and that Bentley Fonzworth would say he would send him a lot of Bible verses to help him fight with some of his depression. So here goes some more pictures of them together in 2017, 2018, 2019. This is at Clive Davis pre-Grammy Gala. Boy, if pictures can say 1,000 words, right? Here they go again. I think it was his assistant. Was it 3 years? I think this is when he did the marathon. Looks like around the time, yeah, he runs the city, the marathon. This is the Vote or Die with Don King. This is a funny picture. All right, guys. So let me get you all caught up. He's currently married now. He lives in Atlanta. He's married. He has a couple of kids. Let's see here. What else is he doing? He was in the choir at the Essence Festival, like Coca-Cola, and this was in New Orleans. So he's kind of low key, but his wife, here's his wife, Vaughn Chambers Watkins. She's actually an actress. She was in Bring It On Again, epic movie, Showstopper, Cruise, The Cutting Edge, A Royal Christmas Ball. So you'll see him on a lot of more red carpets because his wife, she's an actress, very pretty woman. He has a beautiful family. So while it was Memorial Day weekend, while we all were hanging out that Friday after reporting on the trial, Diddy got served in prison in the MDC, Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. So it was and this was filed. It was 5/23. That was Memorial Day weekend. I remember, and I came on here and I went live because I had the paperwork, and in reading the documentation, because had it wasn't appropriate for the community guidelines. So let's pull it up again. So Fonzworth Bentley's legal name is Randy Dwayne Pittman versus Sean Combs. Federal registered number. So this is Diddy's prison number in jail, 374-52054. He's being held at 8029th Street, Brooklyn, New York. It says you have to respond within 21 days after service of this summons. So basically, Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley have to respond in 21 days from May 23rd. So pull up my calendar. Bear with me, guys. May 23rd. So they have 21 for just 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3. So next Friday. They got to next Friday, June 13th. So we'll see what the response will be. I don't know if the warden had accepted this. So let's go down. Mr. Combs, MDC, Borough of Prisons, and it was served to the warden at the MDC, Brooklyn. Here's the warden's name. Herberto Tellez. I'm sure he opened it up. He gave it to Diddy, or Diddy gave it to his attorney, or whatever. And then it had Derek Watkins. They have his address is 14545 Fair Street, Van Nuys, California. And of course, the plaintiff who filed it actually put in a PO box. PO box. See right here, Dwayne Pittman, Post Office Box, Mountain View, California. So he sent it from a PO box in California. That doesn't mean he lives in California. I'm just looking up this address to see if it's like a business or a home. One of my friends be like, "Al, you like a private detective?" I'm like, "Nah, not really." Okay, let's see. 4544 14545 14545. Well, I put the wrong. I put 34. 35. 1455. Let me see image. Google images. It's like an office building. You may have an office there. Okay. Proof of service, signature receipt, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so here is the case number. Here it is. Here's what they got served. Case number 125 CV 02813 Pittman versus Combs et al. Means and others. So Randy Dwayne Pittman, okay, Diddy and Bentley. Proceed is the attorney. And this was filed in the United States District, Northern District of Georgia, May 20th, 2025. So it was filed on the 20th. Diddy got it on the 23rd. He got 3 days later. Okay, it says plaintiff Randy Dwayne Pittman is an adult individual residing in the state of Georgia. So he lives in Georgia, but he filed it from a P.O. box in California. Employed by, at the time. Okay, this is the time alleged. Okay, I'm sorry. He was living in Georgia at the time. He was employed by Options Talent as a talent source at the time of the events. Defendant Sean Combs, professionally known as Diddy, is a prominent music producer, entrepreneur, and founder of Sean John Lifestyle brand, maintaining residence in multiple locations, including New York, California. The defendant, Bentley Fonzworth, his real name is Derek Watkins, professionally known as Fonzworth Bentley, is an entertainer and associate of Combs, acting under his direction during the events with residence in multiple locations. Okay. So this is the party. He's claiming that he was at, went to the mall. One second. I can't read the whole complaint because it's a little Lenox Square Mall. At Lenox Square Mall. I had this up already. Okay, let me share it with you. Here's Lenox Square Mall in Atlanta. That's where he was at. Plaintiff Randy Pittman lived in Georgia, and he went to Lenox Square Mall because he was working. He was at Talent Scout at Options Talent Agency, and he went there looking for talent. Okay. When he got there, he saw that it was a Sean John fashion show. Maybe he knew the fashion show was going. I don't know. Maybe he knew it was going on. He went to the fashion show. He said, "I'm gonna look for talent." Here he goes, Randy Pittman. And when he's there, he meets Fonzworth Bentley. He then goes and introduces himself to Diddy. It was Gene Dale, and they were signing autographs, and there were a lot of younger, teenage fashion show at the mall. Who goes to the mall and watches fashion shows, right? Teenagers, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I go, but I go to take my kid. My kid is 17, right? Oh, mommy, take me to the mall, hang out. Let's see the crowd. There's Diddy at the show for Sean John. And here he goes, Randy Pittman. So let's go back to the rest of it. On May 23rd, what is the coincidence of that? That's creepy, guys. Did you see this? Diddy got served in a prison on May 23rd, 2025. And in this complaint, it says that the fashion show was May 23rd. Wow, what does that mean? I'm not an astrologist, but what does that mean? Okay, at Lenox Square Mall in Atlanta, Georgia, Randy Dwayne Pittman was this guy right here. Let me get a better picture. Sorry, this guy right here. Randy Pittman at Lenox Square Mall, right? In Atlanta. Was a talent scout for options talent, attended a Sean John fashion show. He was approached by Fonzworth Bentley, Derek Watkins is his government name, who offered him entry to the after party hosted by like Sean John Combs, if he brought female guests. Now he was saying this was a male fashion show, and there were a lot of men there, and there weren't any females. So he wanted some females to come to after party. But looking at the crowd, I do see some females here. I do see females. So, Holmes provided Pittman with event credentials. He said he got a media kit. That's very common. When I was on tour in 89, 90, 91, we always got media kit, press kit, media release. You would always have a lanyard that you would bring on to get the pass. So that I believe. Holmes provided Pittman with okay, let's see if he has a lanyard on. I don't see anything around his neck in this picture. This picture's kind of blurry. Let me see here. Yeah. Oh, is that a camera? There's something here around his neck. It could be a backstage pass, media pass, or it could be a camera. I'm not sure. He does have something like he's working. Instructed him to act as part of the Sean John team and take pictures. So he goes to the mall. He's a talent scout. He meets Fonzworth Bentley. He says, "Let me introduce you to Diddy." Diddy's like, "Hey, take this media pass, put it around your neck, walk around and take pictures and act like you're part of the team." Just like that, the guy did it. Okay. Combs and Watkins directed Pittman to bring in two minor females, he said, aged 13 and 14, to post-event review at Rich's department store and then a hotel party. So after the party was the after party, and after that was the hotel lobby. Mm-hmm. Rich's department store. Don't they rap about that? Isn't that what those rappers rap about? After the party is the hotel party, and after that was R. Kelly, right? And R. Kelly and catching Rich's department store. Guys, be with me. I got to do everything. There is a Richard store in Atlanta, Georgia, but this is so many years ago. Who knows if this is the same place? I'm not gonna share it. Who knows? Okay, let's go back. Go back to the accusation. So he says, "Come to the after party." After they like the guy, come work for us. Here's a media pass. Take some pictures. We're gonna have we're gonna have a post event at Richard's department store, and then to a hotel party. At the hotel, Combs and Watkins, Fonzworth Bentley allegedly provided Pittman and the two other guests with lots of rugs. They offered them rugs and something to drink. So here are the counts. Count 1, SA battery against Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley. Count 2, rugging endangerment. Count 3, intentionally infliction of emotional distress. Count 4, civil rights violation. Count 5, negligence and gross negligence. Count 6, punitive damages. Pay or relief for compensatory damages of $7,500,000, $7.5 million. Punitive damages to be determined by court or jury. Course including preparation, investigative fees, court course. Okay. This is it right here. That's the complaint. There's Gene Dale right here. This was another security guard, a taller guy that was at the event. I don't know his name. So, guys, this is all allegedly. I will say that after this incident, 9 years later, Mr. Pittman was arrested and he spent 8 years or 9 years in prison. What he was in prison for, I don't know. I'm sure you can look it up. I'm not really sure. But he said Diddy was definitely the ringleader of everything, of directing who you are, what you're going to do, where you're going to go, what you're going to bring. And he directed him to ingest, him and the females to ingest drugs. And they did it and got essayed. That was what he's alleging. $7 million. He wants $7 million. So they got to answer. They have to answer. I mean, you got to get a lawyer and I mean, Diddy's got so much other on his plate to answer it, and I don't know. Everyone's been asking where Fonzworth Bentley has been, or why he's been so quiet, or what is going on. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? You guys think this is cap? You think it's real? You think it's bogus? Knowing what we know now, I mean, he was very close with Diddy. They were doing a lot. The guy is coming with receipts, with pictures, but then again, like all these other victims, they don't speak up. Is he just looking for, my last live, I had a long list of maybe, I don't know, 15 people who settled, and that's why these things happen. Trying to be very polite, these are sensitive topics, guys, and I try not to. I do tell jokes, but it's not like a joking matter. I try not to joke about it, but these are people's lives. Like I said, this man is married and he is a father. I don't know if he's into the church, but what you do in your past, it will keep up. It will catch up with you. So I don't know. Maybe this guy's just looking for a settlement. This is really hard to say what it is. So let's listen to this. Before I sign off, guys, I'll be back later. It's early. I was up early, so I came on. Go ahead, drink my green juice, guys. Make some green juice. I'll come back later. We're going to do some more updates because I wanted to talk about the RICO. Yes, I wanted to talk about RICO because I found some other documents I want to go through. Guys, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I'm just going to show this video real quick before we get out of here.
Right. Shade 45 in the morning, it's Angela Yee, and Fonzworth Bentley is here. So how did you actually end up going to work for him?
I was working at Ralph, right? And so I was living in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. A big shout out, Ralph, between McDonough and Howard.
I live in Bed-Stuy now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, shout to the Brooklyn all day. Yeah, they didn't, they were like, all right, a Southern guy with a suit, you land in the hood.
Yeah, not a lot of gents in Bed-Stuy.
You're the feds. They thought I was the feds.
Well, even better.
Right. So I'm there, and when I was working, you fold down the store, at 7 o'clock. Either I could go on the train, go back, try to change into something a little more, casual, denim or something. But I miss a lot of that good networking stuff, a lot of that, like right after work stuff. So I would always go out dressed. Mm-hmm. So I really started being, and the only person dressed in any of like the, the little hip hop, any of the events were the Wall Street guys. This is gray suit, navy suit, white shirt, very boring.
Right.
So when I'm in the chocolate brown 3-piece lavender shirt, foulard tie, with the chocolate brown suedes busting heads, I stood out. And I started to realize, I was like, okay, so New York is kind of weird. You got to act like you the ish before you even done anything.
It's all about, people's perceptions of you.
It's really weird. And so this was different. This was a different thing coming from Atlanta and just being, just a regular humble guy. So I was like, okay, I get it. And then I started to realize, I know a lot of these guys, but they don't know who I am and they don't know what I do. I could be anything.
I'm anybody.
Yeah, a designer or philosopher. I'm walking around with bow ties. The feds. Like I'm anything, like you said. So what I would do is I would always go up to folks, just in general, and I'd urge all of the folks out there, who aspire to be in different things. When you see people just go up,
sometimes it's not always about you saying, yo, I need an internship or yo, I want to work. It doesn't work like that. You have to establish a rapport. Just be memorable. Say something smart. Say something, you're paying attention to the culture. You're paying attention to what you're into. And I would do that. And I started to realize, so I would literally walk up to Puff and, and I'd be like, you want to do this, but you can't do this, and walk off.
Whoa.
Talk about my clothes. Because it's like,
Pause.
Because it's kind of like, no, because it's like celebrities, they're people, they go to the bathroom just like any of us. Right. It's like, I ain't got nothing to lose. He ain't paying my bills.
That seems like such a risky thing to do.
Yeah, but
with somebody like him.
Yeah, so, and he would always be like, as I say it, I walk off. He was like, who was that? What was that? Who was that? Like, what?
Security never tackled you to the ground?
Nah, just like, it wasn't a big, it's like tongue in cheek, like whatever. And so it became like almost like an inside joke. Every time I see him, it got to the point where I wouldn't have to say nothing. Say, you're at the party, you looking around, then you see this dude again. That's like, I'm like,
how you doing? What's up?
No, I'm just pointing like,
yeah,
that ain't it.
Ooh.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I never forget, I was at this Blue, is it Blue Ribbon or Blue? Yeah, it was a Blue Ribbon downtown. I was with a friend, a mutual friend of his, this young lady. And this dude who was a shoe designer. And he walks in, and this particular day, I have to admit, like I was dressed like the Black Duke of Windsor. Like I was Merc, M-U-R-K, Merking, right? Like full out, the watch vibe, And so he walked in, he walked straight to my table. I stood up, and it was like a little stare down match on some like,
wow.
And I won. And then he just pointed to the old girl like, yo, get this dude. It was the 2 ways then. Remember the 2 ways? Anybody with me? 2 ways.
Yeah, I had 2 ways.
Stay with me. He's like, yo, you get this dude my 2-way number. Well, I didn't call him the next day because I'm busy.
Yeah, what a game.
Well, I wasn't busy. But you don't know. Don't nobody know. You don't know. You know. So, long story short, I remember, I was like, I waited. Next thing Club New York happened. I'm like, dang, I done waited too late to hit him on the thing, right?
That was a bad time.
Really bad time. But I would always send him like Bible verses and stuff like that, and he would always reply back, "Thank you." But he don't know who this is, whatever, right. But all of us are feeling for him. He was a man on trial for murder. You know what I mean? And so, I never forget. I remember I was leaving at this time. I left Ralph, and I was working at this restaurant as a maitre d', and I left, and I was hit him on the 2. I was like, "Yo, I'm sure you're really busy, but I really need to talk to you. Who is this? It's Derek. Where are you? 70s, 3rd and 3rd. Who is this? It's Derek Watkins. Where are you? It was like, no, around the corner from my house. Who is this? And I'm like, okay, now how can I tell him, right, who I am?
We have these stare downs in the crowd, and then
we eye
came
fight.
Up to me at Blue Ribbon, and
right. So then I'm like, and now I understand this as the importance of branding, and I said, it's Derek Watkins, the suit master, right? So he didn't reply. And, after I'm working for him, Puff, you think he the master everything.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing you know, I was sitting there in my lobby, and I said, you know what? I know he knows who this is because he didn't reply. I know I got one more page, and it's a wrap. Like you get blocked, or
you want to be a harasser,
right? You don't want to be harassed. So I was like, I sat there and I did what I usually do in instances like this: is I talked to my Father in heaven. I said, all right, God, you got to tell me what to write. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to write. So I sat there, and the good thing about God is when you ask Him, if you're patient enough, He'll answer, and He'll be real specific. And I was sitting there and I'm looking like 20 minutes. I'm just imagining like how long it is to just sit still and look at the page. And next thing you know, I just picked up the page. You remember the guy that traveled from Howard University, the intern with Andre Harrell? I'm that guy in 2001. Please don't make me go back to work on Monday at the restaurant. He replied, come to 1396 3rd Avenue. I literally started that day training as his assistant. The rest is history.
Oh, wow.
True story.
That is a crazy story.
It's a very real story. But, this is over, a couple of years of like seeing people. You go out, New York is big, but it's small.
You run people and they don't know you like that, but
you know their faces,
yeah.
You around, and yeah. So big shout out to, big homie Diddy, gave him my first opportunity.
At least somebody has a good story about working for this guy. All right, 888-SHAPE-45 is number. Call us up.
That was 16 years ago. And Angela, you said somebody got a good story. Oh my God. That is hilarious. She's funny. That made me laugh. All right, guys, we got to go. And you know how we leave with the little song. I'll leave it on a good note. Go hit up my playlist. Like this. I'll be back a little later. We got what? 4 more weeks for this trial? 3 more weeks? They done pulled Fonzworth Bentley'S into the allegation. Man, who's next? Who's up next? KK gonna be up next? Who's gonna be up next? All right, guys. Gotta go. See you later. No lashes today. It's a no lash day. This is I'm out of here. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Appreciate it. See you later.